I think we'll jump just immediately to the next slide. We're talking about how we can help you launch new products and innovate with SōRSE. So most of you are introduced to SōRSE because you've heard about our emulsion, our ability to take CBD oil and make it beyond usable, but a high quality way to build a beverage, edible, or other CBD product. And we spent a lot of time on that over the last couple of days. But beyond just being a CBD supplier, an emulsion supplier, there's a lot of resources at SōRSE for product development and helping you produce unique types of CBD within our lab and within our innovation team. So you probably had one product in mind when you came to us. We want to invite you to think about innovating, to launch new products, to do something different, to maybe read your market and understand that they might be looking for maybe a CBD minor, maybe a different type of product form, not just do a beverage, but maybe launch a powder through an e-commerce site. There's a lot of different possibilities, and we'll be seeing that in the slides to come. Let's go to the next slide. So a bit of a framework to talk about. When we're talking with a customer about launching something new, it's exciting. There's so much to go after, but one of the most challenging statements that we can get when we're talking about innovating is, you know, I'm just not sure. I just want to launch like a sports product. It's a good start. It's a good start, but we need to work together on checking off some different boxes. And this checklist is, we know, much more than just a checklist. There's a lot of different work here. You can spend a lot of time on brand identity, target consumer, product type, your differentiator. This could be months of R&D and work. But at a minimum, what we're looking for is for you to define really just some basics around your brand. Of course, it's great if you have full-on papers and thought pieces developed. Even better if you have data to back it up. But in this example, beyond just saying a sports drink, we're looking to find that maybe you're looking for a functional drink. You're looking for certain types of ingredients to be in it. Maybe you've defined not just an amateur athlete, but a specific type of amateur athlete. Maybe you're focused on triathletes or weightlifting. All these details really help our team visualize the market you're going after and where you're looking to be successful. We can help you with ingredient choices. We can help you with flavor profiles. We can help you with format, and even give you guidance on packaging and certain suppliers that you can work with and that we've worked with in the past. But it really is a partnership up front. There's load that you have to carry up front for us to be able to do our best work. And frankly, it's fun. It's the fun work. These are research items that once we push our customers to take a step back and do some of this discovery, we find that they actually have a lot of fun with it. We have a lot of fun collaborating with them. And your persona may change. During the product development process, you might decide that, you know what, once we came up with this formula, I think it's actually better suited for maybe a different target consumer. But what we want to stay away from is going through product development and during that process, finding out that we've built a product that maybe was for a market that you didn't quite have in mind. It's some preparation up front that really saves everyone a lot of work, but also enables our clients to be a lot more successful. Okay, we'll go to the next slide. So on that last grid, we talked about form type and CBD type and some of the options that you have and some of the guidance that we'll give when you're building that product. So SōRSE, as you probably know, is available as a liquid, but also as a powder and also an agglomerate powder. So just 1 minute on these if we haven't covered them. I don't think we've covered them in our prior days, but powder and agglomerate powder, two different form types. Agglomerate powder is fast dissolving. It's a slightly larger crystal. It works great for stick packs, for example. We built these different product formats and are building actually additional product formats to be able to give you flexibility on innovation. We'll guide you through it. We'll tell you which type of liquid is going to be the best type of emulsion. We don't just have one emulsion. We have a pretty sizable emulsion library, pretty sizable library of R&D, finding out which form of CBD is going to work best in which product form. We'll talk about that more in just a second. But CBD type, people tend to think of it as, well, should I go with isolate or broad spectrum? But you can innovate beyond that. There's a ton of miners out there that consumers are starting to be educated on for different form and function. And it's a great place to consider innovating, as well as considering certain terpenes that have certain benefits. So this is sort of the basic choices that you have. But let's drill down a little bit more on this in terms of different applications. We'll go to the next slide. So this is not an exhaustive list, but talking a little bit about certain types of emulsion for certain types of applications. Now, many of you are doing beverages. Beverages is a sweet spot for us. Even within these first liquid emulsions, we have different options. You might be going for an all-natural label claim, and we can serve you on that. You might be looking for something that's more of a sugary beverage versus a very light, sparkly beverage. Those are two different types of emulsions. It's actually a couple different types of emulsions that we can guide you through. And then, the choice between broad spectrum and isolate. Always a debate, always a choice, and people are generally passionate about that choice. Those of you who are using broad spectrum in your products are big believers in the entourage effect and the idea of having more than one type of cannabinoid. Others of you are focused heavily on the sensory aspect. The isolate delivers much less sensory, some other benefits that not proven, but some people believe the isolate is just going to hit them in a different way. We'll innovate with you on which is the best for your product. And then powder I touched on already, but if you're looking to build an edible, we're going to guide you towards standard powder. If you're looking to do something that needs to dissolve in a beverage, we're going to push you towards our agglomerate powder. Agglomerate is unique to SōRSE. We don't know of anyone else who's innovated to build this fast dissolving powder. It's a fantastic product. Those of you who are using it, I know are getting great feedback from the marketplace. If you haven't sampled some, reach out to one of our team members and we'll set you up. But it's a really cool product. And then want to emphasize, it's not just about isolate or broad spectrum. We're starting to develop some really exciting blends, some proprietary blends with CBN, CBG, other miners, and we can actually customize the amount of miner content. It takes a little bit longer for us to produce, but there's some unique innovation that we can deliver there. Okay, let's go to the next slide. So in talking about some of these proprietary blends, we also want to emphasize that we can also convert material that you bring to us. We do a lot of work with our CBD supply chain. We've probably evaluated over 100 different providers, and we work with only a handful of farms and extractors to provide us CBD that meets some pretty high quality standards, and our suppliers go through a lot of work to qualify. So if you did want to bring us material that you believe in, maybe you have an angle on getting it through a partner, maybe it's a type of material that's special with certain types of miners, and you want us to convert it, we can do that. It takes a little bit longer, and there's some different tiers in terms of price breaks, but also standards. So one thing that's not on the slide is if you're going to bring us material and it's less than 3 kilograms, we're going to convert it in-house. If it's over 3 kilograms, we're going to convert it at at our co-man facility, at our GMP certified facility, that also delivers you a couple other important standards that we'll talk about in a second. So if you have material to convert, we can do it. It's going to take a little bit longer, but we certainly have customers that have a great supply, and we're happy to work with it. Okay, let's jump ahead. So I talked about this conversion, and I just touched on our GMP facility. We've done a ton of investment at SōRSE, not just with machines, but also people, facilities. Our production capacity has had to go up because of our growth over the last year. It's been 400%. It's probably closer to even 500 or 600% at this point in terms of the amount of SōRSE that we're producing. So it's come from two reasons. One, a need for capacity. Two, investment by us to make sure that we're operating essentially with FDA standards already in place. Obviously, we're all waiting for FDA guidelines, but with the deep bench that we have within SōRSE on a regulatory standpoint, a quality standpoint, we've been able to build this facility so that we believe we're going to be in compliance on day one, unless there's some weird guideline that's given to us. So it's a pretty great facility that we produce SōRSE on a commercial scale, and you're the beneficiary of that. Let's go to the next slide. So talking about some of the standards that are important, this is not an exhaustive list, but we do think it's important for all of our customers to be able to benefit from production within a GMP certified manufacturing facility, and we certainly check that box. We're always working with COAs, whether it's coming from a hemp supply that you found or one of our trusted suppliers. And there's pretty heavy scrutiny on the hemp that comes into a SōRSE lab and gets converted into SōRSE. GRAS, SQF, kosher certification, the list is long in terms of food standards that we're looking to meet as part of our regular production process. I've heard occasionally that people have worked with suppliers where it's maybe special for them to produce the GMP facility or to meet certain standards. At SōRSE, we're basically adopting all these standards as standard procedure. Okay, let's go to the next slide. We've talked about these already, but just want you to consider when you're working with SōRSE, you probably have a regular work pattern. You probably have a regular supply that you're requesting from us on a regular basis. So think about what you're working with and how we might be able to take it a step further. Can we take an emulsion and modify it to better meet your customers? Thinking about function again, if you're looking to develop a sleep product or an energy product, there's things we can do. Sometimes it's just really switching out something we already have in inventory that we've already produced. I want you to think about doing custom emulsions. And if you haven't leveraged our other resources, our formulation team, our production team, ask us to put you in front of them. There's some world-class people at SōRSE, people who come from Starbucks, people who come from other large food production companies who have built world-class products, and we have them under our roof ready to support our customers. And maybe it's not something that you're going to approach right now, but just spending some time, whether it's with Michelle or Michael or Donna, and having the chance to bounce an idea off of one of them, you can then go off and do some of the work we talked about before of thinking about a possible consumer and a possible market. But just a 5 or 10 minute conversation can go a long way. And then finally, I want to talk about our production support. Tireless work by our production team. Always a new challenge, whether it's a different type of hemp that a customer brought us, maybe it's a timeline that has to be met. We invite you to actually connect with our production team, work with one of our business development team, and learn a little bit more about the steps that we go through to make sure that you're getting exactly the emulsion that works within your spec, and that you may want to consider for the future. So we can support you in a number of ways. It's up to you to leverage us. We want to make sure that you're getting all of the possible benefits of SōRSE beyond us just giving you the best possible supply. That wraps up my presentation. I really appreciate the opportunity to speak to all of you. It's an honor to work at SōRSE and to work with such great customers. And I hope to talk with all of you very soon. Thanks.